All right, we're back here for our final feature match of the league for Lost Caverns of Ixalan. We're in week 6, and we got John P. Goku or Go Home, the podcast guru himself, up against Caleb G., our winningest feature match player since we've started these. And we got Adam here sitting in, and he's going to tell us about Caleb's hand right about now.
Oh, it's a spicy one. He has one creature. It's Time Stream Navigator.
Whoa.
Uh, he has Helping Hand to get back the Time Stream Navigator, perhaps. Although,
Well,
does it
okay.
exile itself?
It puts itself on the bottom of the library.
Okay. So, Nambo. Uh, we just drew a second creature, and it's an equally exciting one. It's Ackle Packle.
Okay, well, yeah,
Uh,
they're both exciting for different reasons, but yeah, I'm used to
the
normally,
other
yeah. Mhm.
the other spell in hand is Tinker's Tote.
Okay. Yeah, normally I'm used to casting Time Stream Navigator in my Wizard's Commander deck, where I make a token of it immediately that has haste, and I get the extra turn, and then I just do the same thing the next turn, and repeat.
I'm not seeing that functionality
No,
yet.
I'm not used to seeing this card played fairly because it's kind of not that good when it's played fairly. But look, it's here. It's holding off the attacks at the very least. So in hand for John, we
Caleb's
see
doing
yeah.
pretty well.
So in hand for John, we see a Kami's Flare, which is a removal spell. He's got one of his Magmatic Galleons. I know he's coming with two of them here in his deck. He's got a Panicked Altasaur and a Scampering Surveyor. So he's got some nice 5 drops and a removal. Quite the story here. John started last week 10-10, which means he had to win every single match to stay in, and well, he's here, so that means he won 5 in a row. So looking for an improbable run here. But and Caleb's up on top of the standings, so no surprise to see him up there, 19-6. I believe he's just about as locked in as you can be to make top 8, and he's going to try and continue that domination. And John's going to try and scrap his way to another victory.
Yeah, we just drew into that counter spell,
That was good timing.
which was well timed. Yeah.
Yeah, Galleon is. I mean, I haven't seen the context of his deck, but it's has to be among the best cards he has for sure. I know he has a second one, but even in
And now we've
yourselves,
drawn a
yeah.
Dark Rose Reliquary,
Okay.
which could be played by sacking the puzzle door. Uh, but no, he's just going to sack the puzzle door for a card.
Yeah.
2 lands,
Yeah. So
one of
Caleb.
which
Yeah.
is a Fortified Beachhead.
Okay.
Not a card you see every game.
Yeah, so Caleb seems to have quite the deck here. We saw him, I think, early in the league, week 2 or week 3 in the feature match with his Ackle Packle deck. So it looks like he's just carried on. He's kept basically the same base colors, and he's picked up some interesting stuff along the way. I do love the Time Stream Navigator. Probably more cool than it is excellent, but always like to see it.
I mean, Ackle Packle is going to look amazing on a board with 5/1/1s.
Oh yeah, king of the board it'll be. Well, here's a 3/2 to stare down these 1/1s, and it's going to get him a mana here. So his draw for turn was the Belligerent Yearling. That's the 2 mana 3/2. So looks like he's green red. He has a hidden Necropolis, so he might have a black spell of some kind in his deck. But he's just going to go get a hidden Volcano. And down comes the 3/2, and at some point Aquapaco is going to come down.
Oh,
He's going to start trying to get value from it.
well, we've picked another bomb up. So Caleb, for a pool with very few packs in it, is just replete with bombs. We've got Sanguine
Oh, that's
Evangelist
a good one. Yeah,
about to come down.
yeah.
That is one of the strongest cards in this format,
Looking
I
pretty good
think.
on a board full of X2s. All right. Well, here's an Excavation Explosion off the top. So that's a 3 damage spell. He also has Kami's Flare, which is also a 3 damage spell. He's going to play his Panicked Altasaur, which is going to look like a complete behemoth on this current board state. I guess he can make his dinosaur 4/2 and attack.
Mm, I don't know if you. Yeah, I guess you do.
He
Got to start
says,
pushing damage.
well, the Evangelist pumps everything when it attacks. So he says, I have to take the initiative and try and get stuff off the board here, or deal damage too, right? He'll take the damage as well.
I have to say, the Surveyor has been one of the best performing cards in this format, certainly at low rarity. I just
Just
would
such a
be happy
solid
to
card.
run
No,
just
Time Stream
excellent card.
Navigator. No, poor thing. Off it goes.
Interesting. I thought he might save one of his creatures, but
No, he just doesn't want to kill to take an extra turn. I guess it would be too demoralizing. Yeah, Scampering Surveyor. It's like, I mean, when I read it, it sort of reminded me. I think a lot of people reminded them of like Solemn Simulacrum. Obviously, you don't draw a card when it goes away, but also gets caves into play, which is kind of great. So just a solid uncommon. I mean, that effect would be pretty good in almost any set, but particularly in this set, it's very good with getting caves, which can be utility land sometimes. Like we saw John get Hidden Volcano, which can turn into a card later. But here comes Akko
which is
Packle, and
kind of like Draga. Oh, look, we can get Helping Hand, can get back the Time Stream Navigator because it wasn't sacrificed.
do it, do it. So what
And I
is
think it's the
so
Evangelist
so
for
so
more
that
bats.
land I believe brings pumps your soldiers. Is that what that land does? You
Yes.
could
I'm
pay
not sure how much relevance it
four or
has in
five
this deck,
mana.
but
I don't know if anything. I don't know if anything's a soldier here. I would assume the evangelist is a cleric, but you never know sometimes.
I believe that's correct. It's definitely a vampire.
Oh yeah, yeah. All right, so four bats and two frogs here are just sort of staring at each other, and here comes another small creature. Stays small. But if I'm Caleb, I think I'm attacking my bats into these frogs all day. And okay, that's good. That'll. Oh no, okay, he doesn't want it.
I mean, on this board, it would be a monster.
Yeah, I mean, Akopaka would be a 2/6 if you wanted it. It's unbeatable.
Aquabackle,
So
so strong.
here comes a hidden
The card
Necropolis.
advantage.
I don't know if he must have something black in his deck, but he's going to discover, so he's going to turn that volcano into a card, but it's not too much of a card here. It's a mana rock. So
Love
interesting,
to see the Power Stone
yeah.
used for activating
So
the ability.
and also interestingly enough, he could tap his Power Stone to activate the second ability of the Network Terminal, which is pay one, tap it, tap an untapped artifact you control to loot. So the Power Stone
Oh.
can be that artifact that you need to tap. Looks like the frogs are gone, and looks like Caleb's just going to be pecking away with flyers here. I don't know what John can do that can really solve all these flyers that are damaging him. Plus the card draw from Akko Packle. Like we're seeing why Caleb is doing so well. And
Yeah, and speaking of the card draw, we picked up a threefold Thunder Hulk on that draw. So it's
that's
going to go from bad to worse, I think, for
yeah.
John here.
This aura with Discover is not going to be doing any favors if he casts it. The Itali's favor, that is. It looks like he's just going to discover with his land here. Like I said, the Itali's favor not going to do too much, and a 3/2 here is not really moving the needle where it needs to be, unfortunately. So he can right away cast Itali's favor at the very least. See if he can find something reasonable here. Another frog. Well, he's it's the frog versus bat battle that we didn't know that we needed.
That is his third and final frog in his list, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
I mean, Caleb's deck is just all cards that I've been impressed with. I think Nautilus has been such a strong card in this format as well. And the Spyglass Siren has to be one of the best commons.
Uncommon. Yeah, right. That one was
Uncommon,
uncommon.
sorry, yeah.
Yeah, and here this might be sorry. This might be enough to for John to pack it in. He's drawn a cool card, the Cosmium Confluence, but it's not going to be quite enough here.
Caleb picked up a Master's Guide mural, so the
Uh,
hits keep
oh
coming.
yeah, yeah. I think John has a rule that he usually doesn't. After he's lost to somebody twice, and he's mentioned on the podcast, he doesn't play them again. But then when I came back to him and told him that, the only other person who had signed up for this 7 o'clock slot was Caleb, he was a bit apprehensive. But for the good of
Broke the
the
rules.
show, He's given it his best shot here, but not looking too favorable. He needs to get on board faster. I think he needs to like he had frogs, but he wasn't ramping into big stuff. He didn't really have anything super impactful. And his one really big play, the galleon, got countered, unfortunately. So
It
we
was funny to see him go all the way down to 3 lands by the end there.
well, he just had to sack his
I
land.
think he played 7.
Yeah, so his black card is a defossilize to get back some of his good stuff. He also has a Skyfisher Spider, which is from I believe it was Brothers War.
Yeah.
And he's got 3 geological appraisers. I mean, that was the problem with the game. He did not cast enough banned cards. Just cast more cards that are banned and profit. What's Caleb
Well,
looking at here?
Caleb's deck looks incredible here. So he's siding in some more controlling elements, it looks like.
Okay.
He'll be on the draw against big stompy things. So seems like a sensible plan. A couple of out of airs coming in. Quicksand Whirlpool. So maybe taking out some old tech archaeologists, it looks like. But I mean, Caleb's deck just in general looking very strong, very low curve, quite a few 1 drops, 2 drops, and then not a ton above that. We saw most of the cards above that,
Okay.
like Sandwing, Thunderhawk, Guide Mural.
Yeah.
But in general, this curve stops around 3.
I mean, he just basically put on a clinic in both evasion and card advantage that game.
Yeah, so some strong evasive creatures.
Yeah, like ramp decks are are very fair if you're not ramping into like insanely powerful things. Like looking at John's 4 drops, which is probably like where where you want to start getting an advantage, like getting that out on turn 3. Aside from the Raging Regisaur, which is a 4/4 dinosaur, um, most of his 4 drops aren't like super huge. Like he has the Surveyor, which is just more ramp. He has 3 Appraisers, which are good, but they're not going to like dominate the board size wise. So I think 5 is where he wants to be ramping to because he has the 2 Galleons, Panicked Altasaur. Um, so in his hand now he has a Network Terminal to go along with his land. He has Rise of the Ants, which is a good one, flashback card. He has an Appraiser, Plundering Tyrant, and then the little baby dino, the firstborn of Gishath, the 2/3. So what's Caleb doing here?
Well, it's going to be hard to beat Caleb's hand
Uh
just in general. He's got Ackle Packle on its way down. Next turn, I expect we'll see the Oltec Cloud Guard, which will trigger Ackle Packle,
Right.
besides being 2 bodies, including an evasive one.
Well,
He's got a counter spell and a petrify, so some controlling elements. So I think John will need to come in fast if he's going to overpower
well, how about two three
the
threes next turn?
value.
How does that work? Or because he has Rise of the Ants he could cast. Unfortunately, he doesn't really have any great removal in hand. He has the little baby dino, so he could kill the Cloud Guard with that next turn if he chooses, or he could play Rise of the Ants. Those are his options. It looks like he's going to go for the dino plan here. Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah, I could see the case for both. I mean, you probably just want to make the more aggressive play, I would think here.
Which I think
But I
is
mean, Ackle Packle, just if you don't have removal,
1/5
how
is
do
just
you can't
ridiculous.
attack through it? Yeah.
Like I don't know if he's playing Rumbling Rock Slide. I don't remember seeing one, but like that's probably about the only thing that kills it on this board. Even,
Yeah, or you attack into it with your 3/3s, and if he blocks, then you can use your dinosaur.
I think that has to be the plan here.
But will he block, right? I mean, would you?
Um, I mean, with all that mana, unlikely, I guess. Let's see.
Also, Caleb is holding up the same counter spell that caught John last time.
So the thing with that is that John can pay for the. He could pay the four. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If he pays the four, he won't have the 2 left over to uh,
Mhm.
to deal damage to Ackle Packle. So might be worth firing off the counter spell on this, just so he, even if it resolves, he doesn't get the trigger here. So pretty devastating.
Yeah, Caleb is reading it carefully, I think.
Yeah, it's not a kicker cost. It's enter the battlefield cost. And imagine if nothing else to do, he's going to fire it off. And if I'm John, I mean, am I paying? I don't know if I want to pay. I think I might just play my plundering pirate instead. I guess the 2/3 is okay, but it did not do what he wanted it to do.
Yeah, that
He
hurts.
ended up paying 6 mana for a 2/3 with no text on it.
Well, he got a counterspell out of hand,
We're not
though,
playing
to be
Cons of
fair.
Tarkir, okay, right? 6 mana 2/3 is not okay in this set.
Well, the good news is, for the moment, we have no more artifacts or artifact token producers in our hand. So,
Yeah, but he also has way more cards in hand, so that in itself is an advantage. He triggered it. I mean, triggering it once is still good. Obviously, if you can do it more, you're well on your way to winning. But even triggering that card once is, you get your card back.
well, and John's only one land away from bringing back the Rise of the Ants,
Yep.
which could be sufficient pressure.
Yeah, Iron Paw Aspirant probably going to put a counter on the flying creature and start getting in for real big chunks here.
Yeah.
The old tech Cloud Guard just such a solid comment. Like probably was the best white comment I would say. Ended up being
Oh, yeah, I think so.
pretty high pick. Like if I saw it in the first like 6 picks, I probably was gonna try and be white for it. Really, really good one. Yeah, pretty bad draw here with the Lore Keeper, the one that makes mana for dinos. Of note, John does have a land here. The Restless Cottage. I believe you
Yeah.
make a food when it attacks. So it's a 4/4. So he does
Yeah,
have
the
that
foods would be good.
in his back pocket here. It would
But
be
Packle can just block that too.
yeah. That's a
I mean,
problem.
you
One
still get the food.
five. Yeah, 1/5 is just ridiculous. Yeah, it looks like he is gonna go for that. Just as I was mentioning it, just doesn't have too much better to do. I mean, if you had something better to do, like cast Rise of the Ants. Oh, you get to exile a card from
Well,
the
he's got
graveyard.
a
Okay, that too.
he's got a raise.
All right. Looks like this 3/3. It looked like it was about to be triple blocked, but nah, he's gonna go on 2/3 instead. That way, he can only kill one of the creatures.
I mean, this is good pressure coming from John.
I mean, it's what he has to do here. Like Caleb just cast a 2-drop and did nothing else, right? Like John used all of his mana that turn.
Oof. Here we've top decked clay fired brick.
Oh,
So it's
that's
expect we'll see that.
that one is
We're flooding
just
a bit.
every time I see that card, I'm just like it's such a sinking feeling. I'm like, oh, they're gaining 2 life. It replaces itself, and then later on, it's just a win con. Like
Yeah, not even that much later.
they could have tweaked a couple things on that and made it a rare. They could have like changed a couple numbers or on it, and that could just be a rare, honestly, for the impact that has on the game. Usually anthems, like stuff that gives all your creatures +1/+1 are usually rares. So yeah, just a really really strong
Oh
uncommon.
yeah.
Looks like he's gonna beef up Packle here. He says, "I'm sick of getting attacked by 3/3s. I got a 3/7. That's a completely normal stat line that we see all the time, right?"
Yeah.
And he draws another
It's
card.
the hits keep coming here. I guess he's thinking about it. So we get the choice between a recruitment officer, which can draw small creatures off the top.
Right, right, right.
Oh, and that's what we've taken.
Okay.
And the other one you now see in the graveyard, he had the option of taking a spring loaded saw
All
blades.
right, so he's got a captivating cave here. I guess he's just casting Rise of the Ants, but I don't know how he deals with the 3/7 unless he has Rumbling Rock Slide. Um, this is just too big. 3/7.
Yeah,
Caleb
red
says I'm
doesn't have
sick of
red
being
and green
attacked.
both. Well, the flooding continues for us.
Yeah, well, what I do like in this, I know that like a lot of people aren't a fan of those 4 or 5 mana red, those clunky removals to the point where some people just almost never play them. But I think Rumbling Rock Slide is considerably better than what we usually get because it does scale with the game and doesn't kill a large thing if you need it. But yeah, this game's getting a little out of control here. For Caleb, he's going to draw another card because the bricks got exiled. This is again just a clinic on what his deck is trying to do and why he's been doing so well. And
Smart. I didn't catch it at the time, but the putting the saw blades into the graveyard gave him fodder for crafting the kiln, the backside of the bricks.
it's almost like he knows what he's doing. Crazy how
Yeah,
that works
that's
sometimes.
well played.
So we got a Calamitous Cave-In drawn here. Right now it's for 2, so it would just wipe out the tokens. He put counters on his pirate to assure it survived. But Paco Paco still has 6 toughness he has to work through, even with the 2 damage on it. He can
Can
attack
you
here
just swing
for
in
9.
here?
Well, I mean, he's dead next turn if he doesn't leave something back. I guess he has
Yeah,
he
so
has he has a lore keeper he can cast. The one with the treasure. Yeah, he was. I think he was thinking about it, and then he was like, "Well, I might just die."
think oh yeah, well, so he would have the lodestone needle would
Attack
have
something.
put him out, but and also he's got Caleb has a petrify, so we have multiple removal
Yeah, so he
spells.
could have just attacked with 2 creatures or 3 creatures and left back 2, but he still would have lost. It sounds like so. John,
Yes,
look, John P has done something very improbable, which is to stay alive 5 matches in a row, and we were pulling for the underdog here, but looks like Caleb has swung this firmly in his favor right now. Like
I'm
look,
not sure what he's considering carefully here.
yeah, like
Seems like
looking through John's deck, I don't think there's really anything that can catch him back from this. Like he has good stuff. Like Galleon is probably like his best card, but that doesn't really get him out of this whole. I mean, it might kill the flyer, but it's not gonna solve the problem of being able to deal the last bits of damage here. Recruitment officer. I believe you could pay 4 mana and look at some number of cards and reveal a creature that costs 3 or less.
that's right. And we're holding up the lodestone needle.
Yeah, so John does have an extra 3 life here with the food. So there's that. He's just drawing lands here. So he drew land for turn. He is now drawing a land from his loot.
Brutal.
Yeah, just too many lands here. He still has the cottage, but the cottage can't attack. He can gain 3 life. Yeah, his options are pretty bad. He might want to discover here. Maybe find a way to get this flyer off the board. That would probably be his best bet. But if he discovers and doesn't hit, he won't be able to crack the food. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah.
I
So
mean, knowing that Caleb has a lodestone needle in hand, I think none of that works
yeah, and he gets to cast it
because
on John's second main phase and draw another card with Akko because
yes,
Akko triggers at each player's end step, as I discovered at the pre-release when I put in my
that
deck.
is correct.
Yeah, I think the first game of the pre-release I played and I read, I was like, wait, each end step? And then I looked at my hand and I had the little Cogwork Wrestler, the 1/2 with Flash. I was like, oh, this card is way better than I thought.
Yeah,
Well,
quite a
staggering size is coming down. Well, I think John may have to stagger his way to the bench here after fighting valiantly to stay alive. He does fall in week 6 here to Caleb. So congratulations to John. Thank you to all the players and all of my people that helped out on commentary this league. And that's guess that's going to be it. Happy holidays, and we'll see you for Tark here.